Now, one of the things I've been wanting to do for a long time is to improve this entry area. And one thing I really like about the Cornerstones is that they have this beautiful chrome Entegra sign. So what I thought I'd do is see if I could buy one, see if it's available. So I have managed to buy one. They're readily available, and I can put a link to where to get them. So let me just get it and I'll show you what my plan is. This is a sign. It's polished stainless steel. I'm leaving the protective plastic on just so it stops it being scratched. And basically this just goes on to the step like so. The slight problem I have is that it comes with a light bar. So basically when it's on, the name Entegra lights up. But of course that then won't fix onto the stair to the front, because as you can see, so what's the option here? So I thought, I know, I'll mark out the light position and I'll recess the light into this I don't know what it is, Corian plastic. But speaking to a few guys at National Indoor, they said that this is resined on, and to cut this it will create so much dust, and if you get to the resin, the only way to get the resin off is to grind it off, which will probably fill up the coach with dust. So I thought, I just don't know what to do. I was thinking of all these ways I could recess this light, and then Julia came up with the idea, why not just put the thickness of this in plywood and screw it with the recess cut in it, which was a great idea. But I don't think the double-sided tape would stick to plywood, because plywood's extremely porous and I don't think you'd get a good adhesion. So from that we sort of progressed with the idea. We've not even started trying to fix this, and the idea is this: use a material like plexiglass, which is non-porous. This will stick to this superbly, and the sign will also stick to this. And I was talking to a guy just across the way about cutting in a recess for my light, and he said, well, why don't just put strips, and put strips where you want, pad it out. You don't need it to go all the way round, providing it holds this light in place and it's in the right space to stick the double-sided tape. You should be good. So what our plan is to mark this out. Julia's going to mark it out, and we're probably going to put strips of plexiglass where we need it to be able to stick the stainless steel fascia on, and also to hold the light in place. The bigger problem is where to pick up the 12-volt supply that supplies the small, I'll show you, these lights here. I don't know if you can see them on the camera, the step lights. Where's the switch? Those lights. Because the sign Entegra needs to be on when the step lights are on. So I'm going to have to do a bit of exploratory work. I'm going to have to take the lid of the step off and see if I can find the 12-volt supply for these step lights. But I definitely want it lit up because they look amazing. So the first thing to do is I'll take the step apart, I'll see what's what. If I can find the 12-volt supply, we're home and dry. We'll cut the plexiglass, we're going to glue it with Gorilla Glue, and possibly screw it as well. Don't know, it's trial and error, see, because you're not going to see the screws. So we'll get on with that and let you know how we get on. Now one of the most, well not one, a couple of difficult things on this step, as I've already explained, just fixing the stainless steel front is very easy. It's just 2 bits of self-adhesive tape which is supplied with it, and you stick it on. Now if you choose not to have the light, this job will take you 5 minutes. Just one thing to be aware of, you have got an Entegra logo which will shine, you'll see through the stainless steel cutout, so you will have to put something behind the Entegra so it's all white or black or blue or whatever colour you want behind it. Maybe a bit of vinyl, bit of sticky vinyl, that'll be fine. Now we're not doing that, of course. We're installing the light behind the Entegra name. Now I've checked with Entegra and they were very kind enough to send me a schematic which was about as useful as a chocolate teapot. So we'll have to do it our own way. Just on the corner of the step, just under this corner where you see this brown wire, that's not an Entegra, that's our wire. There are 2 tiny red and black wires, and I'm going to have to tap into the wire in here. It's going to be a little bit fiddly, so fiddly that I can't even cut the wires. I'm going to have to burn the sheathing of the wire off with the soldering iron and literally just tee into it, and then use something like liquid insulation tape to coat where I've soldered in. It's the only way I can pick up alive. There is another option, of course. Run power to it constantly and use a wireless remote like we do on the LEDs, but that's probably just as much of a pain in the neck as this. So now the other issue you're going to have, and we've sort of just worked this out, you're going to have to fit this wire in such a way, I've just tacked it with a glue gun at the moment, in such a way that there's enough slack that when the drawer goes back in, there's enough slack for the cable not to bind on anything or rip your joint out here. And it will just, there's a big empty space on this side of the drawer as it goes in. On this side of the drawer, the step when it goes in, there is a motor assembly, so that's not a good place, because if your wire gets caught on that, it will just rip it out. So the excess wire, as you can see here, we're going to put this wire into this sort of black conduit just for a bit of protection. As the drawer goes back in, this conduit will just sort of do this, and then when the drawer comes out, so that's the plan. We've tried it several times. We've tacked it here, tacked it here, tacked it here. We're just with a glue gun, so it's very easy. If we want to change it, we just pull it off. So that's pretty much the way we're going. So the next stage now really is to very, very carefully tap into this lighting circuit. And then once I've done that, it's actually not that a difficult job. But well, I'll get soldering, I'll get onto that. And once we've done the soldering, then we'll get the video camera again and show you our progress. One thing to make a note of, if you're going to use the same color wire, and this is the only wire I've got hanging around, this wire is either ribbed on one of these wires is either ribbed or has got writing on, and that's how you can separate them between live and neutral. LED lights, very important, have to be wired the correct polarity. If you wire them the wrong way, it won't damage the light, it just won't work. So there is a definite positive and a definite negative. Always test before you do the final soldering. Otherwise you'll do all this work and then the light won't work anyway. So, okay, I need to get back to work and catch up with you very soon.
So while Glenn's doing all the electrical side of the step and swearing a lot and trying to find tools, etc., etc., I do all the fiddly bits. So what we've done here is we need to position the light strip, which is this piece, and make sure it goes over the letters, covering all the letters, so there's no gaps. The E is bigger than the rest of the letters for some reason, the E for Entegra. Maybe it's a capital E. So we've cut pieces of perspex out as we said we were going to, and I've fixed one with double-sided tape to the top, pushed the light strip up against that, centre it so that it's covered by the whole piece of metal. Then we've got the other strip of perspex here, and I put, originally the metal nameplate only came with this thin strip, so I've added another piece of double-sided tape here so it's good strong fixing. So now I'm going to fix that underneath it. So this at the moment is still movable. In fact, you could take it out and slot it back in, so that's okay, nothing critical yet. So I'm just going to fix this one here, push it up against that. So that means taking this off, the backing. I just left the backing on the bits of the tape that we don't want to use, otherwise it's just a pain in the nose. So if you find it too sticky. Okay, good strong adhesive tape. I've thrown the package away, otherwise I'd tell you what it is. I think it was Scotch. So now just positioning that in the right place. Still movable, that's good. And then I always do it with a cloth because I don't like cutting myself. So even pressure all along that, make sure it sticks all along both sides. Okay, so there's the two end pieces done. So I've put a piece of tape here, and now I am going to put this piece along this section here. I'm just going to trim that tape as well. That section's going there. Just double check it's still centre. Yeah. Oops. And then I just need to take my backing off. Can you see because of my head? Oh. Okay. Okay. Tight up against . Okay, so now we've got this whole section encasing the light box, because remember we have to recess this so that it's flush with the step, otherwise it won't sit on the step properly.
So let me tell you where we've got to so far. The original plan was to tap into some wires just under this corner which run the two existing LED lights. I had about 3/4 of an inch to play with, and my plan was to melt the sheathing off the wire and then solder the feed wire for this this front illuminated Entegra sign, but that turned out to be a bit of a nightmare. So we found a far better and easier way to do it. And basically, I don't know if the camera can see, but between the top step and the space that the step slides into, I'll point with a pair of scissors here, there's a gap. And if you get a long drill and just drill that way, it actually comes out underneath the front wheel with a load of other cables. So basically all I did was drill a hole, put the wire through to the outside, put a load of conduit, used expandable foam where I've drilled a hole, and it actually comes out. We can get the wire here. There is a hole through the floor where lots of other wires go, and we can actually get our wire there through to the underneath of the wheel arch, And as I say, inflexible conduit comes out there. So in hindsight, that's a far easier way of doing it. So I just mentioned I always solder before I use any crimps, because if you don't solder before you use a crimp, you basically just crush the wire, and the wire pulls out really quite easy. Also good to remember, try and label any new wiring you put in. It just makes life easier for the next owner, or for you, you know, if you're going to do a job later on, because you're anything like me, I've got absolutely no memory left at all. So basically this will now connect to the back of this switch, so when it's turned on it will operate the existing Entegra lights plus our new sign, which is all ready to go on. The only thing we've just thought of, I mean this is quite heavy, because this is probably, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch plate stainless steel. It's quite heavy as it is, plus we've added some plexiglass, plus you got the weight of the light. So we've just offered this to the front of the step, and because now there is no lip for it to sit on, because we've had to pack it out, I'm not sure, I know this tape says it will hold 30 pounds. I just can't help thinking that I'm going to go around a corner one day and the bloody things are going to fall off. So we're going to actually drill 4 holes here, and we've already tested it on a waste piece of flexi, and with a screw like such, we just go through, it goes into the plexiglass. It's a really good strong grip, and I think that together with the double-sided tape should be sufficient. Bear in mind this is only stuck on with 2 strips of this double-sided tape from the factory, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 4 screws, so I don't think that's going to go anywhere. So I've already drilled a hole in the front of the step, which you can't see on the camera, for this wire to go through, and now all I need do is just check the polarity of the light. As I said before, LEDs have a polarity, a definite positive and a definite negative. Let me get a battery and I'll show you what I mean. Always test anything before you finish it, because it's so much easier to correct it before you finish. So I need to establish, I need to put my glasses on, old age. I need to establish, right, now that's the correct polarity. You can see the light. So this will be upside down, but you'll get the idea. Okay, now if I turn these round, you see it doesn't work at all. So the polarity is very important. Now fortunately this wire that is supplied with the light, if I can show you, get it right. Okay, I don't know if you can, if Julia can zoom in. This wire, as you can see, has a white dash on one side, and the other side's just black. The white dash on this particular wire is positive. So now it's a case of fixing the actual sign, fixing it to the front, and literally connecting these 2 wires to the 2 wires that will go to the back of our switch, and then we just need to put the wood back on, and we're done. It's been quite a long job, but of course the idea of these videos is to help people who want to do this, and we do the trial and error. So you should find this quite easy. I mean, for us, like most jobs we do, it's a bloody nightmare, but that's only because there is no set way of doing it. There is no schematic of how to do this. There's no plug-in wire in the wiring loom ready for you. So you have to sort of invent, if you like, and discover the best way to route the wires. So the idea of the video is to make life easy for you guys. So if you want to do this, you could probably do it in half a day. Now we've spent 2 days figuring out the best way of doing it. So what I've done now is taken the self-adhesive double-sided tape backing off, and we've stuck it, and we've clamped it just to give that tape a really good secure fixing. We also cleaned the surface prior to sticking it with a acetone type product, so it's 100% clean. Now one of the reasons I've clamped it is obviously to give it a good firm, you know, adhesion. but secondly, we're going to install 1, 2, 3, 4 screws from the back that will go through the corian and just bite into the plexiglass. I've tested the correct size drill and screw, and it's a really good firm fixing. I just feel more confident with that. I mean, I could, if I wanted to, do the same underneath the step, but I don't feel it needs it. I'm sure that double-sided tape, it's meant to hold 30 pounds, so it should be fine. So I'm now going to just drill 4 screws in there, and I'll probably leave those clamps on while I'm finishing off the rest of the wiring, and then take them off last thing. So fingers crossed, we'll see how we get on. If it does fall off, obviously I won't be videoing that, because I don't want you to think I'm an idiot. With this first hole I'm drilling, I'm just drilling it through the corian with a bigger drill, and then I use a smaller drill for the one that the screw will bite. Just using a bit of tape around the drill so I don't go too far. Of course, this will be hidden, these screws will be hidden by the carpet. Okay, now I can put a smaller drill in, which should give us, yeah, that should give us the bite into the, now again, I really do not want to go too far. If you don't pre-drill this, the plexiglass will break. These screws, I would really recommend doing by hand. Don't use one of these power things. I keep saying this because you can't gauge when it's tight or not. And the problem is you'll just ruin the thread, and then you won't have any bite. At least when you do it by hand, you can feel it grip. And of course we've got a wood to come on here, and then carpet, so you're not going to see these screws at all. So they're biting into the plexiglass just over 1/4 inch, which is fine. And I'll tell you what, you get a really good fixing on this plexiglass. It's not much giving that. Well, I'm pleased to say it's finished. We've routed the cable correctly so it doesn't snag when the slide goes in and out. We've refixed the wood on top of the slide. We've re-glued the carpet. So all there is to do now is the unveiling. So I will excuse my back for a second. Oh, this is good. This makes it all worthwhile. They've actually put 2 sheets of this vinyl protection, which is good because it protects it, because it is high, very high shine, highly polished. Oh my God, it's like Christmas. No, it's not like Christmas. I don't normally get much at Christmas. This is much better than Christmas. That's a hint to Julia, by the way. This year I would like a Prevo or a Newell. We've had a look inside a Newell. That was amazing. But I don't want to spoil the surprise at Christmas. Okay. Now, how good is that?
Oh, you're bringing it forward, so you should have told me that. Whee.
And
it's beautiful.
So I think you'll agree, yeah, quite a lot of work. Not for you guys, because we've shown you the easy way. I mean, that's 100 times better than it was. It just looks classier. So I'm really, really pleased with that. So much so that I think I'll have another beer. Hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, send us some emails or drop a note on the YouTube channel. No doubt someone will tell me a better way or a quicker way or da-di-da-di-da, as usual. But please, if you want to do this job and you're not sure about something, send me a note and I'll get back to you straight away. And if you've got an Anthem or a Spire, this is a great improvement. And I think the actual piece, the chrome piece with the light, I've got a funny feeling it was about $130, but I'll find out. I bought this from National Indoor RV Centre, the parts department, and it came in about a week to 10 days. So yeah, great. And I'm sure, Julia, are you happy with that?
It's beautiful.
I'm beautiful.
It's beautiful.
She said I'm beautiful. Yeah, I'm very talented.
And who helped you with this? You give me a bit of credit.
Yes, I've had
not on film, but
I've had a lot of assistance from Julia. So thank you very much for holding
Pleasure.
things and passing
Always.
things. Good. Right, we're gonna need to tidy up now and then go out shopping.
Thank you.